Hi midlifers, and today we have a Leica in the studio. So this is the Leica SL3-P and this is the latest SL system camera that Leica has. So I was always curious to use a Leica camera, and Prash always says that all photography ends with a Leica. I don't think my photography journey is ending just yet, but I'm still curious to try what a Leica is. So I reached out to my local Leica store in Singapore and they kindly lent me this SL3-P. Very new for me to try, and we're going to do a first impressions and some testing out in the field today. Alright, so now let's have a quick look at the camera. So this is your typical SL3 style body. So we can see the front of it, no red dot. We got two buttons here. This is a very large lens. This is the lens release. We got some LED, some light sensor over here. You can open up the ports. So you can see we have our microphone jack, we got our headphone jack, HDMI full size, and your USB-C. So this is a rubber gasket kind of cover, so this is quite waterproof. So this is the screen strap lug. We got a knob here, and this is the PC sync port or your time code port. You can unscrew it to reveal it. Power button, EVF, sensor for the EVF, diopter you turn, play button function menu. This is a joystick, this is a button, this is the scroll wheel at the back for your thumb, it's a thumb wheel. You can also push it in. And lastly on the side we have your CF Express and your SD card slot. Alright, so now this is the top of the camera. So this is the lens, this is the left control dial, this is the right control dial, your shutter button, two buttons here, and your hot shoe over here, and the diopter indicator for your EVF. So when you turn on the camera, the screen shows you what camera it is, then it shows you your shooting info. So this is pretty nice. When it's dark, it also illuminates. So this is a pretty nice screen. Okay, so I'm not going into too much detail on how to use the camera. I think there are a lot of videos out there already. So you just press and hold the power button to turn it on. It boots up really quickly now. And you can see this is the standard interface. You just press menu to go into your quick menu. Press it one more time and your detailed menu is here. So everything is in one continuous list over here for your photos. And you can go into video by pressing this and swiping across. Now we're in video. You don't even have to actually press menu, you can just swipe across and we go to photo. So this is the most responsive photo video switching I've ever noticed in a camera. And I think this is really nice to use as a hybrid camera. You can also configure any button to do anything. You just press and hold, and a whole list of function button options comes out. So you can choose from this whole list of what you want this button to do by just pressing and holding. So one other thing that I like in this camera that is not present in all the other cameras is that you can see all the icons over here. You can just actually press and hold. So this is AF. I press and hold and I can choose my AF type. White balance, I can press and hold and just choose white balance. Drive mode, I can also press and hold. And then we can just scroll through all the different drive modes we have. So these are very convenient settings because a lot of cameras just show you the settings here, but they don't actually let you control or change the settings by just tapping it. Alright, so I've just used this for a few days and these are my initial impressions. So let's go through what I liked about this camera. So the first thing is that it's a Leica and it produces excellent images as you would expect from Leica and a camera this expensive. So images are of very high dynamic range, they are really sharp, paired with their native lenses. Autofocus is actually really decent now. I think this has improved greatly with the new firmware, and I think this is on par with most of the other modern cameras out there. The menu structure and aesthetic is also very refreshing for me. So I love the new menu structure coming from another brand of camera. All the other Japanese brands have very convoluted menus sometimes, and this one is very neatly laid out and you only get essentials. You don't have all the fluff and all the electronic first curtain shutter and stuff like that to set, because these are not important, and what's important is prioritizing your image quality, which is what Leica has done, and they've chosen the settings for you, so you don't really have to think about it. But if you need more flexibility, then maybe this is not for you. So the Leica optics are also very nice. You can use the M lenses with the M adapter. So the M adapter gives you native EXIF data from your M lenses, and I think this is the best way to adapt M lenses to any mirrorless body, because this also gives you lens corrections. The screen and the EVF are also kind of the best in the business, I would say. The EVF is not the highest resolution one. The highest resolution one is in the Sony, but it's still extremely sharp and looks really nice, really bright. I don't think this loses out in any way, even though it's kind of 5 megapixel compared to a 9 megapixel one. The screen is also very nice, it's very sharp, it's vivid, and it's actually viewable in sunlight, so no complaints there. And for video shooters, now we have a Cine Mode and false color. So Cine Mode gives you shutter angle, which makes it convenient if you change FPS. And they also redid the layout for the options for your codecs, so it's easy to choose based on resolution, frame rate, and you can just pick out of the list and it narrows it down for you. False color is also very convenient now, because you can just turn on false color and you can just expose really easily by visually looking at the colors on the screen. Last thing is that this is a Leica. There's a lot of romance surrounding this brand, so I really like that there's a lot of heritage in the brand. It makes me feel good to use something with build quality that is so nice and made with care, designed in a very aesthetic way. So I think they also care about the form of the camera, not just the function, and I think that is really nice. There's craftsmanship involved, and if you appreciate it like me, this is very appealing. Okay, so now a little bit of what I didn't like about the camera. So it does actually take photos at 40 FPS, but once you're full on the buffer, it takes quite a while to write to the card before you can continue taking photos again. So I would say that the camera itself can capture photos really quickly, but there's a bottleneck in how it writes to the card, and it cannot write the photos out fast enough so that you can actually continue shooting your bursts immediately after. The screen also cannot articulate fully, so you can't do like a selfie video if you are vlogging or recording yourself. So that is also a drawback, and you cannot do a funny low angle vertical shots because it only tilts out. I would also like more scroll wheels, because there are only 2 on top and 1 at the back. I wouldn't mind if they added 1 in front or a scroll at the back, because it's more convenient to have everything on the right side rather than to have this wheel on the left where you have to take your hand off and adjust this scroll wheel over here. This camera is kind of targeted at video users, because now there are more advanced video features in this. This is their best video camera to date, but they don't tell you your base ISOs very clearly. So this has 2 base ISOs, but the 2 base ISOs depend on whether you have the enhanced dynamic range on or off. And even in the Cine Mode, it would be nice if it just allows you to toggle between the 2 base ISOs rather than to just scroll through all the ISOs, and it also doesn't tell you what the base ISO is for the second base. Subjective points I feel are the price of this. So this is quite expensive. This is 8,000 plus in Singapore for body only. So I would say that this is very much an emotional purchase. This is also very subjective, because each person is also willing to spend a different amount on the camera, and they're willing to put a different price on what they value. So I would say that this is a little bit expensive for me, but if you value this, I think it's very worthwhile. If you put a lot of emphasis on how it looks, how nice it is, the build quality, I think, yeah, it's very worth it for you to buy. The ergonomics and control structure is also a bit of a subjective point for me, because all the buttons are unmarked. So if I set up my camera and I pass it to someone else, they wouldn't know how to use it. However, one good thing is that if you're a Leica user, you can save the whole profile and the mapping to your SD card, and you can load it into another camera that you've borrowed from your friend, and you can configure it just the way that you wanted to. So one more thing is that weight and size. The weight is really heavy, the size is really big, and this actually is quite nice to hold if you have big hands. But if you have small hands, if you're more petite, I guess it will weigh you down if you bring it out for a long period. If you use a heavy lens like this 24-70 2.8, it is going to be very front heavy. I still am okay with it, but I guess some people with smaller hands might feel that your hand gets tired from gripping this the entire day. So get a strap and maybe work out a bit more. And the last thing that all the people have complained about Panasonics in the past is rolling shutter. So this Leica also suffers from some rolling shutter in video and photo, but rolling shutter is also very subjective depending on the work that you do. If you are mainly fixed, if this is always fixed, you're not doing a lot of pans, a lot of whip pans, I think you wouldn't notice the rolling shutter. It's actually pretty okay to use normally, but if you're doing a lot of fast moving action kind of video scenes, then this may not be so suitable because the rolling shutter is quite significant when you're doing a whip pan and panning very quickly. But for, I guess, 90% of people doing 90% of video, I don't think that it actually is so significant. If you value rolling shutter a lot, this is definitely not for you, and you definitely won't be in the market for this because you'll be looking for something with very good rolling shutter. So anyway, this is my preview of this camera. I still have this for about another week plus. I'm gonna go to Indonesia with this. I'm gonna go to Bromo. We're gonna do some astrophotography. We're going through a waterfall, and let's see how this performs. So see you then.